Hello, I'm Mark Dujsik of MarkReviewsMovies.com.
And I am Brett Arnold of Yahoo Entertainment and the New Flesh podcast. And this is At the Movies Again, a weekly movie review podcast tribute to Siskel and Ebert, hosted by two film critics whose names you've just heard, covering every new theatrical release and every new streaming release every week in the format pioneered by Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, who inadvertently invented movie podcasting with their seminal television program At the Movies, which had many different names over the years. Siskel and Ebert. There was the Ebert and Roper years. There's the is there like the Ignati years? There's a lot of
the Ignati and Lemire years.
Yeah.
There's the Phillips and A.O. Scott years too. Michael Phillips.
There's also Kevin Smith was on for a bunch of them for a while. I feel like he appeared a bunch
after Siskel died. Ebert brought in a bunch of people just to fill in, and Kevin Smith I know was at least once.
Yes.
It was always weird watching an actual filmmaker try to review somebody else's movies.
Especially
I should watch those again.
Yeah, I mean, especially a filmmaker as outspoken against critics at this point in time as Kevin Smith. But he's also, very endearing fellow, despite him not making a good movie in quite a long time. But hey, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the new release movies for Friday, March 27th, 2026, which there somehow are a ton, but there's no like major wide release in theaters. I guess these movies are technically wide, Mark, but they don't feel like big movies. Like I'll be surprised if either of these top two end up in the top 5 with a good haul. The first one is They Will Kill You, starring Zazie Beetz. It's a lot like Ready or Not 2, and Ready or Not 2 just came out just last week. It'll be an interesting conversation. Forbidden Fruits, a 90s witch style The Craft by way of Mean Girls witchy movie, Diablo Cody produced. There's Mike and Nick and Alice, a time travel, I guess, action comedy with 2 Vince Vaughns and a James Marsden and Isaac Gonzalez. It's on Hulu. There's Pretty Lethal, a ballerina action movie on Prime Video. There's Alpha, the latest from Julie Ducournau, the French filmmaker behind Raw and Titan. I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce that. There's She Dances, a movie starring Steve Zahn and his daughter, written by Steve Zahn. There's a movie called Fantasy Life that stars Amanda Peet and some guy named Matthew Shear, who wrote and directed the movie. That's really sweet and nice. And there's a great movie called Our Hero Balthazar that I feel like is very limited release, but I'm excited to talk about, and hopefully it goes wider when it becomes available on streaming. And then Kontinental 25, the latest from Romanian satirist Radu Jude, who makes movies. Like, I'm warming up to this guy at this point because I really didn't like the first couple I saw, and now I've enjoyed the last couple I saw. And if you go to markreviewsmovies.com, you will find, I believe, 6 more reviews than I got we were able to get to for this podcast. So we got to 9. Mark, that means Mark has 15. And of those 15, I'll just give a shout out to, I guess, just a quick rundown. Mark by Sophia, which is a Mark Jacobs documentary made by Sofia Coppola, who was like a friend of his. Is this true?
Yeah, they've been friends since the 90s.
So. Okay, so like Mark didn't like that. 2 stars. Check out the review. There's a Israeli satire. Is that what it is? Called Yes, that I really meant to get to and didn't, that I want to watch. That is it explicitly about like October 7th, or is it
post October 7th?
Okay.
Israel and how American artists try to deal with making money and bringing up a kid and doing all of that within that. It's good, and so hopefully you get a chance. Maybe we can cover it next week since it's kind of slow next week, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would love to catch up with that. Maybe I will make time for that. Something called Holy Days that you gave 2 stars that I didn't even look into at all. If you want to mention anything about that one.
It's New Zealand road trip movie with a kid who's grieving his mother and 3 nuns.
3 nuns are involved.
3 nuns. That's
okay.
About all you need to know.
Something called You're Dating a Narcissist, starring Marissa Tomei, which I have the screener for, and I never got to because neither you nor friend of the show, Rob, liked it. So what's that one?
Yeah, it's a kind of an anti-romantic comedy where Marissa Tomei is a psychologist who believes that her daughter is engaged to a narcissist and tries to stop the wedding. It's an interesting idea, except oh boy, her character just does some really, really obnoxious things that make it hard to tolerate.
Do you remember that movie where she played a tugboat captain who was
Yes.
having an
Peter
affair with Peter
who
Dinklage?
was an opera composer, if I remember right.
That was the craziest shit ever.
It was the weirdest
I
thing.
think Chris Gethard was in it also. That was strange times. There's something called the AI doc, which is a documentary about AI, I guess.
It's about a guy who finds out that his wife is pregnant, and it makes a documentary trying to explore whether or not the world's going to end because of AI and other stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, is
that streaming or something, or is that a
no? It's in theaters.
Wow. Okay.
It's in limited release, but it's in probably more theaters than you think it's going to be in.
Okay.
I'll just say that much. It's worth checking out.
And then the last one is a cheat, you said, because it was a 2025 release, which several of these this week are technically 2025 qualifying runs that are finally coming out for everybody, including Alpha. But this one's called A Magnificent Life.
Animated from the filmmaker who did The Triplets of Belleville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a biography. It's pretty straightforward, but it looks fantastic because I really like that animator style.
But ultimately, two and a half stars for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, that was a good rundown of all the other shit Mark does and his. I wish I could keep up. It's impossible. Mark watches more movies than I think anybody on the planet. I don't think anyone has you beat. But we're gonna start this week's 9 movies with They Will Kill You, a movie starring Zazie Beetz, which I knew nothing about when I walked in to see it, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. But because I think I was expecting it to be one of these many Eat the Rich movies, which it definitely is, but it's sillier than that too. Here's the trailer.
The Virgil was built in 1923. Today, it's one of the most exclusive buildings in Manhattan.
Hi, I'm the new maid.
With such wealth comes the expectation of the highest quality of service.
It's a lot of lux.
This building is a temple to Satan. Each month we must pay with a human sacrifice. Tonight, you are the offering.
The degree to which it's similar to Ready or Not is pretty funny, including the color scheme. It looks the same with the yellow mansion. But ultimately it proves to be more comparable to a couple other things. I would say it's more of like a Tarantino fetishist dream than anything to do with the previous thing we were talking about. Anyway, jump in. Tell me about They Will Kill You, starring Zazie Beetz. I'm assuming I liked it more than you.
I think you might have. I found it surprising at the start because I also wasn't sure where it was going to go, except that she's in a hotel filled with people who want to kill her, obviously. And there's a big shock that happens about 20 minutes or so in when you realize the true nature of what's going on in the hotel and how these people who are trying to kill her are. I'm trying to think of the way to talk around it, basically, because it is such a genuine surprise. I don't want to give it away necessarily.
Yeah, it just becomes it's heightened. It becomes a different kind of movie. It
does.
Yeah.
Where I'm at with it though is that it also means that it becomes inherently repetitive because you're just watching the same thing over and over again. There's a certain
it makes it inherently it makes it inherently repetitive in a similar way to God, if I said it, I think I would even I can't say that either. Mark is being kind to save the twist that I don't even know if
Because
that
I
trailer
think
gets to.
I
Yeah.
honestly think the twist is a big reason they didn't screen this for critics, except out of South by Southwest for whatever reason. Because I guess
Yeah.
maybe everyone who's at South by Southwest had covered it. It was under like some kind of NDA not to reveal
Oh, I see.
what's going on. I have no clue because they were really not
Oh,
even
interesting.
discussing this.
Yeah, it was the mystery movie this week. I caught it
Yeah,
on
that too.
Thursday with a few other people in the theater. And I think I knew from the first blood spurt that happens that I was going to enjoy the movie because it just announces itself pretty quickly as an over the top violent thing that has some like practical like when a guy's head gets plopped off, like his head flops on the floor and it's like an actual practical head, and like there's like, attention to detail in that way. And I was having a great time. But I do hear you with what you're saying about the repetitiveness. But I do think, I don't know, especially coming on the heels of Ready or Not 2, which I thought was also like fine. I'm like, this is a more fun riff on that to me because this one also has like a stop motion eyeball as a character for a little bit and like a pig that talks. Like, I just like it gets so goofy. It gets so goofy that I had to hand it to it. And I appreciate like the social commentary that's baked in about it's a class conscious movie about how the rich like basically feed on the lesser fortunate to sustain themselves, and it's definitely a theme of many things, but I think it works fine here. And the performances, like the cast just keeps having people you recognize in it, like Heather
It
Graham
does,
and
yeah.
Tom Felton, who's Draco Malfoy. If you don't know who that is by name, Patricia Arquette. I had a lot of fun with it. Like it's definitely something you're not supposed to think too much about, but I had a really good time with it. I think it does what it said. Like it's just a movie where a person is on a one man against, one man army kind of movie, like a one woman army against a bunch of people who want to kill her, and she kills them in increasingly wild ways. And I love the justification for like, how are you so good at this? And they're just like, yeah, in prison I learned to fight. I appreciated that like fake hand gesture of a backstory. I just thought it was fun. It just does what it needs to do to succeed as a movie that's as influenced by Kill Bill as it is by like Sam Raimi and schlocky. It's like a cult horror with schlocky comedy horror. I don't know. I enjoy all that stuff. So it works.
You mentioned the little things that you mentioned. I liked the eyeball at the reveal at the end of the big boss, I guess, the boss of the whole level. I did enjoy that stuff, but up until in between those moments, it is just she goes into a room and there's a bunch of people that you have probably encountered before coming at her one at a time, and she has to take them out with different weapons and within like even the same shot compositions at times, just those long takes and long shots away from her so you can see everything going. It just feels repetitive, and I couldn't get past that. I wanted to enjoy it. I also found that first bit of violence really entertaining because it does some interesting things. The lamp cord is a great bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to give that away, but that's a great bit.
That was, I think, the first laugh maybe that really made me go, holy shit. This movie's fun. Yeah.
It definitely has some inventive moments in it, but overall it feels like you're just watching the same fight scene over and over again, just with superficial changes to it. Just the backdrops and the type of weapons and those flashbacks just
whatever.
Those could have been actual dialogue exposition instead of just breaking away the momentum of everything going on to flashback to, hey, this has happened here. We kind of figured that out. Right. We understand how all this works. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. I just had no expectations of this movie, and it was, I feel like, wasn't it pretty brisk and to the point, and like,
except for what I said, except for the parts I'm talking about.
Oh yes, except for those flashbacks that haul things to a stop. Yeah, I really had fun with it. I had no expectations other than this sounds a lot like Ready or Not. And superficially, it is a lot like that in many ways. But again, it's more like other things. And, it's a good one of these, as I think Jesse, my other podcast co-host, said. It's a good one of these, of which there are many a year, sometimes 2 in a week or two in as many weeks. think there's a lot of similarities between all the movies we're talking about today.
This and Ready or Not 2, even they both have estranged sisters too.
Yes, that's right. And then
That's
like
another connection. It's
Pretty
weird.
Lethal doesn't have the like Satanist aspect or rich people aspect, but it's also a bunch of young women trying to avoid getting killed and killing a bunch of people.
But I think you could make a connection between Pretty Lethal, when we get to it, Pretty Lethal and Continental 25, just because they're in.
Sure.
They're going to Budapest, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Pretty Lethal, and there's a whole bunch of Hungarian.
Yes. There's so much Romanian-Hungarian beef on display.
But we'll talk about that later. I just think it's those connections are fun.
I love when they find connections. This week in my article, I was writing them all at the same time, really, pretty much. So I was like, just finding all these connections in my intro. I'm like, this is a very violent and gory week at the box office, or just in general. There's so much shit that's violent on streaming and at home, and in theaters. Good luck to you. Like, I don't know what it says about our culture right now that all these movies are incredibly violent, but it definitely says something.
They're getting out of the way. Galaxy comes out. I think if you're just looking at that, that's all it is. They have all these. They need the adult alternative to anybody who's like, maybe kids are going to go see Mario 3 times and the parents don't want to go that many times.
Yeah.
They still got to go to the theater.
They got to go see.
Maybe it's as simple as that.
3 different indies, which is how I would do it for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, 3 stars for me for They Will Kill You, a movie I had no expectations of and ended up having quite a lot of fun with.
2 stars for me for They Will Kill You.
Brutal. We're going to continue disagreeing here with Forbidden Fruits, a Diablo Cody produced film that's based on a play that has a much more interesting title, like an off-Broadway New York City play about a group of women who work at a Free People store, which is like a women's clothing store, a teen clothing store at the mall. And coven, witchy, the craft by way of Mean Girls is kind of what they're going for. Here's the trailer.
You know, when I was a sales girl, not yet a saleswoman, I had a knack for making something out of nothing.
Head down, hoops on, bottoms up, pop the trunk.
Thank you. Oh my God, it's the Free Eater girls. They're like mall royalty.
Sit out in there, crossover, watch me take this hoe over.
Do I know you?
I don't think so. I just got here last week.
What are you up to tonight?
Well, I was gonna go home and
Like, what do you want to be up to tonight? Let's begin the induction.
Goat's milk, thigh gaps, rose petals, bone caps, truffle oil, bitch slap, blood clots, juice cracks.
I thought this movie was so much fun, and then it gets so gory out of fucking nowhere that I had to ultimately give this movie its props, even though I was skeptical up top. And I think again, I'm going to quote Jesse again. Like, I didn't know how badly I wanted to hear like fun, good dialogue. And I thought this movie was full of that and really game performances. If you like Diablo coded, irreverence, I think this script is kind of full of those, even though she didn't write it. She did produce it. Anyway, tell me about Forbidden Fruits.
Yeah, it's very easy to put Diablo Cody's name on a trailer, I think, and say she produced it, and then everyone's waiting to hear the dialogue. And I found the dialogue here not that entertaining. I think there's something off. It feels like they're making pop culture references that are maybe a generation or two older than they should be. There's something off about that for me. I did kind of enjoy it. It does start as more of a broad satire about this group of popular, young at the mall. The malls still exist in this world, and they are, just everybody looks up to them. Everybody wants to be them or be with them, the usual stuff. And then this new woman who's working at a pretzel stand wants to join the group, but maybe she wants to join for ulterior motives. We'll find out. I do think it's kind of funny. I like the cast here. Lily Reinhardt's really good as the leader, who's just completely self-involved and has her own agenda for doing this. I think Vittoria Pedretti is a standout here. Her character seems like an easy joke, just the airhead of the group. but there's so much more going on with her and with that performance. You could tell like she is adjusting her personality and attitude and the way that she thinks to fit in with this crowd. And you get that sense of this melancholy beneath it and this desire to actually be who she is. I think it's a really good performance. Otherwise, my big thing is it feels so aimless for so long that when that third act comes around and it is so violent and gory and over the top, to me, it just felt as if the filmmakers didn't know where to go with it and just ran out of ideas and said, okay, I guess we'll just turn it into a horror movie. Or if this was the plan from the start, it really just kind of still feels as if it comes out of nowhere. And either way, I think it doesn't work within the context of everything else.
It made me want to read the play at the very least, if not see the play, to know if it also ends in a similarly bombastic fashion, or if that is, as you said, like, let's make it a horror movie kind of a thing. Because I do think it works really well as a dark comedy about female friendships and how there's a lot of like, posturing, I guess, and pretending and like trying to fit into these ideals that maybe people, even though they say they're about them, they're not really about them, and how femininity is, turned into corporate cult. It's commercialized now and sold in that way, and it's interesting. It's got a lot of big ideas, and that made me think that the play is really, probably that's where all those themes come from, I would imagine. I think the movie gets them across via dialogue naturally versus like didactically spouting themes at you. So I actually was really taken with it, even though I do agree, like, it definitely becomes a horror movie out of nowhere, though that was like a plus for me as a horror fan. I was like, oh man, I was like, why did this just become a Final Destination style set piece all of a sudden? It's so gnarly.
Things lifted directly from the Final Destination movies too, on top of it all.
Yes. It's from one of the weaker ones, but like one of the most memorable to me. Like, God, I'm like, I think this movie does that particular Final Destination kill better than Final Destination did it, which is impressive. So it's definitely a brew that might not work for everybody, but it's like got the Mean Girls thing, it's got the craft thing, it's got the Jawbreaker like spirit and Heather's kind of energy that's kind of mean. I don't know. I was prepared to call it the craft, so I'm glad it's good. I'm actually not glad it's good because I would have just liked to have a headline that says it's the craft. With the P, but that's a joke that works better in print.
It does, yeah. It only works in print, I think, because
I'm glad I said it on the podcast. I should have put text on screen when I said it here. But yeah, it's not crap. I thought it was really cool. It really won me over with that gore turn. And yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
It kept me at bay. I really don't see the appeal of the dialogue. I'm missing it, and maybe it is just me. It just felt forced. It didn't feel as if it's actually developing much. It does have a lot of ideas. You brought up a lot of them. I don't think it really explores them because it's so busy with the mystery of why, all of that's going on, and with the dialogue just trying to bring attention to itself. And then, with that ending becoming a horror movie out of nowhere really just throws it off. The fact that it is co-written by
it's about witches. It's about witches.
I know, but
it's not that out of nowhere.
It's kind of out of nowhere because it doesn't necessarily imply they are real witches the entire time. They're just doing something akin to witchcraft, kind of to, as a performative sort of thing, much like the performative nature of the feminism that Lily Reinhardt's character is doing. It's, it's interesting. And then, the fact that if it does, if the ending does suggest that it is real, and I don't know if it does or not, what does that say about the whole thing? A lot of questions. I don't know if it answers it. I was unsatisfied.
It's really nice looking. I like a movie set in a mall. I like the nostalgia that it's aiming for. And yeah, the satire of all that stuff just worked for me. I thought it was good. And again, it made me want to read the play, which is called "Of the Woman Came the Beginning of Sin, and Through Her We All Die," which is on one of the T-shirts Lily Reinhardt wears in the movie, which I appreciated.
I noticed that.
Yeah, it's a fun coven in the mall movie which, you know, there's a long history of movies commenting on capitalism and society via malls from Dawn of the Dead onward and maybe backward, but it's a rich tradition, and I think it's good. And I want more movies about malls so we can like get malls popping again. Where I live, there's a huge, really popular big mall, and I feel like, I mean, that's where I go see my movies now, and I feel like I'm transported back every time I go. So I'm all about the resurrection of mall culture. Fuck the internet. We're all gonna go offline and go hang out at the mall. 3 stars for me for Forbidden Fruits.
When we do a live show in front of an actual audience, it will be at a mall somewhere.
It'll be like
We'll
it'll
make
be
sure
like
of that.
the live dating show at Mallrats that takes place
Yes,
at the
that.
mall.
Except
for
it's a
whatever
movie
reason.
review show.
Yeah.
Populated by like one person in the audience.
No, it'll be sold out,
there'll be
obviously.
like 3.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. And
People
a couple
milling
of people
about people who from the food court with their food who need somewhere to sit.
yeah,
Pop down. They'll plop down.
they'll show up. 2 stars for me for Forbidden Fruits. Yeah,
Wow.
I
The
know.
Split. Okay. Let's
I
get
think-
back in harmony, Mark.
Yeah,
Let's
I think
get back
we're
in
good.
harmony. Let's get back in harmony in a conversation that I'm glad we're both on the same side of, because there's a lot of gaslighting going on regarding this movie that I'm going to call it what it is. I mean, it's people who are friends with the guy who made this movie who are giving it a total pass. This guy happens to be friends with a lot of my friends. We have a lot of mutual friends. I'm sorry. I'm actually friends with this guy's brother, and I'm sorry if he hears this or unfollows me on Twitter because of this, whatever. I hope not. But I like to think of myself as an honest film critic, and I would never just be like, yeah, this piece of shit is actually a brilliant because my friend made it. Maybe I definitely, if a friend made a movie, I will always mention it and try to acknowledge bias. And I think I've just the tweets I've seen about this movie. I have.
I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
you have reviewed movies with people that you are close with, and
Yes.
you have not been always kind to those movies.
Yeah.
and I at least unless you're hiding some deep dark secret that you are losing friends by the barrel full because
Well,
this
I'm not super
podcast.
close. I don't have like these aren't super
I know.
close friends.
No, I
probably.
know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. These
I'm
are
just
more
saying,
acquaintances.
you
and
haven't
stuff.
told me that you've lost friendships.
No.
over reviews, so,
No one's
yeah.
ever called me out over it, but like there's people that definitely. I have a friend who's in the industry of comedy writing and stuff, and he sees movies all the time, and he doesn't comment on them publicly because of this situation where he'd have to end up glazing something that sucks or whatever. Anyway, a lot of people giving this movie like a 5-star review and saying, I'm slightly biased, but this movie is doing all these amazing things, and I'm just here to we're going to put that fire out because this movie is annoying. Here's the trailer for Mike and Nick and Alice.
Open the glove compartment. What's this? It's chloroform. Chlor what? You don't know what chloroform is? Should I know what chloroform is? Have you ever seen a movie? Yeah, I've seen many movies. And have you ever seen a movie with chloroform in it? Oh, okay, just listen to me. You're going to ring the doorbell. Somebody's going to answer the door. Before they can get out a single word, you take that rag that's soaked in that shit and you cover their nose and their mouth.
Oh, that's chloroform. That's chloroform? You could have just said the wet rag thing. It made it easier.
Fine, great. Do what you call the wet rag thing. Hey, Mike.
This is confusing.
So that's the kind of dialogue you're dealing with, which is it faux Tarantino? Is it faux Shane Black? I think it's doing both. It wants desperately to have dialogue that you find funny and engaging. That's all like asides, like just kind of unrelated to the action. We're bickering about this thing. Isn't it funny? Like when someone says something and he goes, as if to say, does a bear shit in the woods? Does Winnie the Pooh have a big belly or whatever? And then the guy goes, who the fuck's Winnie the Pooh? And that's supposed to be funny in and of itself. There's characters' names like goons that are named like Dumbass Tony, and the joke is that Tony's a dumbass. Like, I just found this movie completely insufferable in the way that so many post Pulp Fiction, I guess, movies are that we're trying to knock off Tarantino dialogue. And like, it's not something you can just do easily, as this movie proves. It's like you're trying to emulate the inimitable, because Tarantino dialogue, Shane Black dialogue, there's a reason that it's it's noteworthy and has a name. It's not something anyone can do. And I don't think this guy can do it. And I think this movie is insufferable. And on a craft level, what the fuck is with the directing and editing and like the seemingly random deployment of the Wong Kar-wai effect of like slowing down the images? Like it looks like it's just trying to pay homage to Hong Kong action, but it's seemingly random moments that has nothing to do with the action. It was baffling to me the whole time.
Yeah, that stuff's baffling. It's baffling to me that this movie has. You didn't even talk about the premise, which involves time travel.
I actually like the premise. The premise is really good. Yeah.
Yes, I like the premise too. So we'll get it out of the way because that's exactly what the movie does. It's that there's a time machine, and this gangster played by Vince Vaughn goes back in time because he made a mistake involving his friend and colleague played by James Marsden, and wants to correct it. And so there are 2 Vince Vaughns in this movie. And that's kind of it. And then after that, it does just become trying to copy this stylistic dialogue and trying to be funny for no reason. Just having these non sequitur conversations about the Gilmore Girls that go on for minutes.
Yeah, like the Naked Gun did
multiple
that
minutes
with Buffy, and it was funny, and
yeah,
it worked. But this one goes on for too long and is inauthentic for whatever reason.
Yeah, it goes on and on just because I think that's the point for me where I realize, this guy's run out of ideas for this. He doesn't know what to do with this. It's a cool setup. It's a cool premise, but what are you going to do with it? You're just going to make a bunch of pop culture references that people are going to recognize, and hopefully that's enough to
and have a character pretend they don't know what chloroform is. Just like the self-satisfaction with writing dialogue like this. That's like self-aware movie dialogue where the characters are like referencing, haven't you ever seen a movie? Like,
yeah,
it's really smarmy to me, and it's tough to pull off. And I think it just really does not pull it off at every turn for me at this movie. Despite that premise, which the time travel aspect, the reason we both, for at least for me, the reason I think it's such a clever premise, despite being maybe familiar because time travel movies are so dime a dozen, is the small stakes of it.
Yeah.
Is the fact that this guy goes back in time 6 months to fix a big mistake he made that he's come to regret. And I'm trying not to, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yeah, there's no reason to, because it eventually reveals itself. It's not that big a deal in terms of like explaining it. It's just,
I guess it's that small scale of it and like the personal nature of it, which makes it compelling to me. And then the movie just squanders it immediately and completely and at every turn.
Because the other thing is the tone of it is so trying to be cool. It is trying so hard to play detached and like none of this matters. And so when you have this small stakes story,
which is what Shane Black excels at, and this guy does not. Right?
Yeah, about a guy who is having this moral crisis and understands something that he did wrong and wants to make his past self realize it too. You can't, if you want us to care about that and that idea and these characters, you can't make them just completely apathetic to everything to just put on this show of being above all the stuff that you're trying to do. It's so weird to do that. And then to have that last bit of sincerity near the end is especially galling, just because you didn't earn this and you didn't even try to earn it. You've been playing cool this whole time. You've been showing us that you don't really care about this stuff. You only care about the pop culture references and the jokes and the action scenes, which are just, I said They Will Kill You is repetitive. This doesn't even get to be repetitive. It's just shots of people running around shooting guns in hallways at the end with no sense of geography. It's just to look cool. That's really all
which again, Hong Kong action movies pull that off. This movie does not pull that off.
Very frustrating. And it's very frustrating.
Yeah, man. It's insufferable, and it's made more insufferable by all the glazing that I see on my feed of people encouraging everyone to watch this because their buddy made it. But if he was my buddy, maybe I would be a little kinder. So I'm trying to sit with that and think about that. But no, this movie is just not it's not good. I think he came up with don't you understand how it's sold? Like, I can see it. I'm like, like, this as a spec. You walk in and you say, time travel movie, hitman travels back in time to again, I don't want to fucking say it, but like
all you do is you say it's a Tarantino movie with time travel in it.
Yeah,
That's how you sell it.
Yeah, and I see how they sold it, and then I'm assuming they bought it on spec because the actual script is so full of nonsense, non sequitur, bad dialogue bullshit that it reveals that there's no meat on the bone as far as the sci-fi element goes. Isaac Gonzalez is one of the most beautiful people in Hollywood right now, and she's very good. I like
the cast is good. General, I think the cast.
Jimmy Tatro. Anytime he's on screen, I like
funny.
him. He's funny.
He's funny even when the dialogue isn't funny.
He elevates every bad movie he's in. I enjoyed him in Scream 7. Speaking of, Keith David's in this, and I felt bad for him. And Stephen Root shows up.
Felt bad for him too.
Felt bad for him. Felt bad for the girl.
They're doing it. They're giving it their all because those are two very dependable. Those are probably maybe the two best dependable character actors. Keith David
this movie's shot by Larry Fong, like cinematographer who works with Zack Snyder, and who else? He shot Super 8. He shot Watchmen and Batman v Superman, a lot of stuff. He also, speaking of Shane Black, I think he shot The Predator, the 2018 one. But anyway, it just feels like it's something about it thinking it's cooler than it is. It's very smarmy. I really didn't like it at all. It's 1.5 stars for me.
Yeah, 1.5 stars for me as well. We are back in harmony.
We're back in harmony, and I think we're
gonna have Nick and Alice, by the way, just to
Mike
clarify.
and Nick and Alice, and I'm pretty sure that's a Mikey and Nikki reference.
I think it's a Bob and Carol, and
I think it's both. I think it's both a Mikey and Nikki and a Bob and Carol, because it's Mikey and Nikki's about hitmen, and then Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice is definitely the title casing they're going for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, a lot of cleverness in name only going on with that movie.
Yeah, basically.
Anyway, let's get back to disagreeing on stuff. Here's the trailer for Pretty Lethal, a ballerina action movie that delivers on that premise, I think. Here's the trailer.
Inside every ballerina's heart beats the blood of a warrior. They turn pain into beauty, chaos into precision.
Is it possible for you to stop being a jerk for like 2 minutes?
Bite me, Bones. The Budapest Showcase could change your life.
Only the world's best dancers get invited.
Does anyone have any service?
No way, this is my kind of place.
You have big show, yeah? I used to be a dancer. Years of dedication, pain.
I think, Mark, that this movie does a much better job of justifying why we, the audience, are watching an action movie starring a bunch of ballerinas than the John Wick ballerina spinoff, which feels like it's more retrofitted to fit, the John Wick mythos, than this movie, which is just like, we're going to put ballerinas who have, to quote Liam Neeson in Taken, a very particular set of skills, and we're going to set them loose on a bunch of bad guys in a situation that's concocted where they basically have to fight to live. They basically, like, let's just say, without spoiling, they witness a murder or something, and then basically, when you witness a murder in front of the Hungarian mob, they're going to just kill you. So these bunch of ballerinas take it upon themselves to fight back, and they get rallied by one of them, who Maddie Ziegler, I believe, is the lead in this, who is like, come on, we're prima fucking ballerinas. We have incredible skills. Let's use them to kill people. They put like razor blades on their shoes, and they go and do little dance routines as they kill people. Like, what do you mean people don't like this movie? This movie's getting really bad reviews. I think it does exactly what it says on the tin. I think it's exactly 80 minutes long. Uma Thurman's in it, chewing up scenery. What's not to like?
I think you explained it. I think the action is ridiculous, but not in a good way. I think the justification of this idea that the ballerinas, specifically that the ballerinas are in prime condition, they are in the best condition of their lives, and then all of these gangsters are drunk and out of shape, and all of this. I get it, and that's a fun idea that they would do it. But once they just start spinning around and doing this choreographed little number that they have set up, and somehow they turn it into a fight as if that's the thing that's going to stop all these gangsters from coming at them, and they come at them one at a time, of course, because that's how you're supposed to do it in these movies. It's so silly. It's so ludicrous that even the fact that I am buying into this with that logic that they are just in prime condition and these guys are not ready to handle that because they're just out of shape older guys, but I can't take it that next step where it does just look absurd to see this group of ballerinas just twirling around and being in a group and trying to kill all these guys. It just looks silly, and it doesn't
That's like the
justify
whole
what
yeah.
I know, but it
Like
looks
the whole deal
silly.
the whole deal doesn't work for you.
That's exactly what I'm
Yeah.
saying. The whole
Yeah.
deal doesn't work because it looks dumb. That's exactly what I'm saying. This movie would be over so quickly if anybody
It is.
had
It's
a gun.
80 minutes. It's 80 minutes. It's
No,
over
it'd be
so
even
quickly
quicker than
anyway.
that. If any of these characters if any of these Hungarian gangsters who kill somebody to get the entire plot
Well, they're
started
hanging out
had a
at
gun.
They're hanging out at this hotel. It's where they hang out, Like I
Uh-huh.
get it. I like the
Yeah.
premise. I think it's definitely contrived and concocted.
Yes.
But like that's fine. This movie exists to be a contrived, concocted, a bunch of kids, like young. These girls are supposed to be like teens.
Yeah.
And one of them's Millicent Simmons, the girl who the deaf actress from Quiet Place, which they use pretty well, her deafness. I like when they are able to integrate that into an action movie in a fun way. Iris Apatow, who I haven't seen before, I don't think, is the other Well, I've seen her in Knocked Up when she was a baby, and now she is an actress
And now
in a
she's playing
movie.
the sister of one of the characters whose characteristic is she's the sister of one of the characters.
Yeah, that's right. That is her characteristic.
Yeah, that is the entire characteristic of her.
She's the deaf girl's sister, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's her character.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on.
I mean, who cares? It's an 80-minute movie where ballerinas fight people, and Uma Thurman is like a former ballerina who's in the mob. Like it delivers exactly what that description needs to. So for that reason, and for as described, Jesse agrees with you that it's bad.
Okay,
And,
that's good.
And
he does not think it's a good one of these.
No, he does not. He thinks it's a bad one of these. And when we were arguing about it, he said 15 good minutes. And I said, yeah, but like that ratio is pretty good when the movie's 80. The movie's like 80 minutes. I agree. There's like 2 scenes that are good. And then it's like them fighting back finally after a lot of buildup. But like I wasn't bored by the buildup. And I think it delivered on those action sequences when they finally built up the courage to be like, we're prima ballerinas. Let's fucking go kill them in crazy ways and slit their throats and shit. I thought it was stupid fun. 3 stars. Pretty late.
Oh my God.
On Amazon Prime now.
I don't even like, so two good scenes, but plenty of bad ones. That's not even the Howard Hawks rule. The Howard Hawks rule is 3 great scenes and no bad ones. This doesn't even live up to that.
This movie has 2 good scenes and a bunch of like fine ones.
Jeez. I think your math's off on that. 1.5 stars for me.
That's
for
literally
Pretty
what
Lethal.
Jesse said. Jesse's being invoked a lot today.
Yeah.
He said I'm not sure about your math there. when he said the 15 minutes thing, and I said 15 out of 80. That's not terrible. Like if it's, I don't know. I guess I could see the argument for it being bad.
I don't think if somehow that was like a grade on a test you were getting, I don't think you would pass.
Okay, a 15 out of 80 on a test I would fail, but this movie passes with 3 out of 4 for me. I enjoyed it. I recommend it wholeheartedly. No issue. No problem on my end recommending this. I'll take the flack that comes. But again, if it doesn't sound fun to you, don't watch it because it is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is very, very ridiculous.
That was a fun one. Where are you on that? Did you
1.5. Yes, I did. 1.5.
All right.
No,
all right. I love belaboring the point. Anyway, let's talk about Julie Darkernow's latest, Alpha, a very divisive movie. Let's keep this arguing going. This is a fun one. I love when like there's weeks where we agree on everything, and now there's 9, and we agree on like one of them. This is great. Here's Alpha, a movie that was released into one theater in the Bronx last year to get a qualifying run for the Oscars. Nothing happened, and now it's coming out via Neon. Here's the trailer.
My good hand, tattooed evil, cross his brother's fist. That filthy five did nothing to challenge or resist. In heaven his throne is made of gold, and the ark of his testament is stowed. A throne from which I'm told all history does unfold. Down here it's made of a wooden wire, and my body is on fire, and God is never far away. And the mercy seat is a smoking, and I think my head is melting.
Is it possible I like this movie just because it features Nick Cave music in it? Maybe. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna break in before you even said that. I threw you another trailer that doesn't have that for copyright issues. Just this is like off-camera stuff, just in case like that song we get struck.
Yeah.
So if you want to splice in this other trailer that doesn't do that.
Good call.
It's
Yeah.
a
Damn
striking
it.
trailer.
I
It's a great
love
trailer.
that. I mean, I joked about that song should have been used in the movie Mercy because it's called The Mercy Seat, and that movie's about a chair and it's called Mercy. But anyway,
It would have been perfect.
It would have been perfect. But this movie used it to great effect. It also uses more anachronistic music, like Time Impala, to great effect. I thought this movie was very striking and definitely not what you're expecting maybe from the director of Titan and Raw, these more bombastic movies. But I thought this was very sad and compelling and dour and interesting. And I think Mark's take is the conventional take. People do not like this movie. It was kind of booed out of whatever festival it was at.
It was at Cannes for
I think it
one
was
day.
Cannes, yeah. And
Which
then
is
I
funny
think
because Titan is apparently the pronunciation. I looked it up.
Ooh.
That's apparently the pronunciation of it.
Great movie.
Won the Palme d'Or a couple years back.
Crazy.
Which
Like
is
crazy
nuts.
to consider. Yeah. Tell me about it.
I haven't been a big fan of Duckenau's movies. I think Raw's okay. It's gross and it's unsettling. I found Titan to be just a mess of interesting ideas and visuals. And then Alpha is just it's a metaphor. It's an obvious metaphor for just the AIDS crisis, but it's not doing that. It's doing instead this fictionalized disease in which people very slowly turn into marble, which is a striking image, undeniably a striking image of watching that unfold and seeing how the body reacts and how it does. Like, yeah, I get why she has this idea, why she thinks it's the centerpiece of this movie, but otherwise it just I'm trying to put it into words. I was frustrated because I found that part exploitative, that it is so clearly about AIDS, just the way that the disease is transferred and communicated, and the way that people are paranoid about it and
stigmatizing gay people,
and they don't understand. Yeah, literally stigmatizing a gay man in this movie because he has the disease, and because his partner is taking care of him. It's like that. It's like so on the nose that it feels exploitative, that you are taking that real life horror that was so persistent for decades and you turn it into this that looks cool as a visual metaphor. I found that distasteful for a movie that's really not doing much otherwise. The big part of it is it's a family drama. This young girl gets a tattoo. Her mother thinks that she might have gotten the disease from the dirty needle, and then the girl's uncle, the mother's brother, shows up in the house. He's a drug addict, and they're trying to take care of him. And it's playing this other game involving time and what scenes are in the past and what scenes are in the present, and they kind of mix them up, and you don't know what's going on. I found that frustrating too. I think it's just a big, empty, hollow movie with a very striking visual at its center, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah, the very striking visual is human bodies being marbleized, turning into stone and marble. And like, I find it is such a striking visual, and it's such a striking idea of like, as she would put it, the director has put it in interviews, like paying respects to the victims of, the disease she won't name in the movie, which is AIDS, but is not AIDS in the world of the movie. It's this magical other disease or whatever. But like, she's paying respects to those victims and like, etching them in marble to be remembered forever because these people, were forgotten and died. And like, I just found it so touching. And I was already struck by it, Mark, when I watched it in 2025 qualifying run. And then I rewatched it for this podcast, after my mom died. And it's not like it's a direct movie about a parent dying or anything, but it's a movie about grief. And it did hit me even more than it did the first time. Like, I was really taken with it. And just, I don't know how to describe it though. Like, it's a very strange movie. And I don't want to give too much away, but like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe why it worked for me. I found it haunting, and it's just a very sad, somber thing. And also Ella McKay is in it, which you haven't mentioned.
No, I didn't, because she's not really in it that much. She's one of the nurses at the hospital. It's more important. The other cast is Tahar Rahim is the brother, and Golshifath Farhani is the mother.
She's always great.
She's always great, and she's good here. The performances are good. I'm not going to take that away from the movie, but I don't think it really adds up to much, except this game that is playing, this 2-level game it's playing. One with the narrative and how the flashbacks and what is pressed and what is present, and then the game with the central image of people turning to marble. I didn't buy into either of those.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it striking. I just think it's definitely riding a lot on that visual metaphor and striking, just like the visually striking nature of that. I don't know. I think it's more a movie about the aftermath of something like the AIDS crisis, and how this is what she talked about in interviews anyway, that I found compelling, which was that she was like a child at the time of the AIDS crisis, which like, so was I. And like, coming of age and seeing how people were stigmatized and how we haven't really reckoned with that as a culture. And that's what the movie's about to her. It feels very personal, and like, it's a movie in defense of her. If you were to defend herself from your claim that it's exploitive or whatever, I think it would be that it's like something so personal that it had to be told allegorically or something. I don't know. I found it very striking, and I even watched it a second time, and I confirmed that I like this movie that is kind of a misbegotten festival movie that no one liked. But I don't know. I think it's a movie with big ideas that hit me even harder the second time. Like the throwaway lines of dialogue hit me the second time. Like, I just watched it this morning. So it's she's talking about to her mom, like, I come home and I know the dog's been dead, like their dog died a while ago, and she comes home and she still expects the dog to come to jump on her.
Yeah, she reflexively jumps back, thinking that's gonna happen.
Yeah, like the movie's like about grief in these little big ways that I didn't really catch on to the first time. So like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think this movie is doing bigger, more interesting things than most people are giving it credit for. And I do think it's, a future cult classic in that way, of people being like rediscovering this movie that was kind of forgotten or kind of farted out. This movie's not really getting a release.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, that's on the distributor. They thought maybe because it's the acclaimed filmmaker, they thought we could get a awards run, and then that didn't work out. So now it's showing up in March.
Yes, and yeah, I mean, and to be fair, Neon. Didn't Neon have 5 out of 5 nominees in the category?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 in Best International.
Yeah.
So like, they did fine, and this movie wasn't on their radar. Once it dropped off pretty quickly in terms of like being a contender. So
yeah,
they don't care about it, and they were fine to let it just flounder. And here we are. It's just getting a technical release in name only. I don't know where you can see it. I'll have to check. Is it playing near you? It must be.
That's a great question.
I'm checking the showtimes near me right now to see if it's playing, because I'm fascinated. Alpha is playing it in time. Oh, in New York City, it's playing pretty much everywhere, like as if it's wide.
It is,
but it's not in my
in-
neighborhood.
It's in a scatter shot around Illinois. It's
Okay.
it's in some smaller neighborhoods.
I
I'll
think
just
it's
say that
wider.
much.
Yeah, it's wider than I
Yeah.
would have expected. So
Yeah.
go see it in theaters and see what side you're on. If you think it's like offensive, you're not offended, or maybe
I'm not
you are.
offended by it. I'm not
Yeah.
offended by it. I just don't think it's the right way to tell that story. If you are going to tell that story, just tell that story. Don't gussy it up with this idea and this image. Just tell the story you want to tell. I think a lot of stuff with Dark Now is just those visuals and those big ideas getting in the way of the emotional stuff that you want to actually tell. I think that's a big thing. Like Raw is about cannibalism, and it's disturbing, and whatever else is trying to get at is so overwhelmed by the images of her, the main character eating human flesh in such grisly ways. It's like you can't tell the story that you want to tell when you put something so big and consequential in it. And I think that's the big problem here, is that image of people turning into marble, into statues, and becoming immortalized in pain is so overwhelming that everything else just kind of gets overshadowed by it.
Yeah, I mean, I get that perspective. But I've got to give my props to Julie Darkernau, a filmmaker that I've loved since I really loved Raw, I really loved Titan, and I really love Alpha in a different way. It's definitely not as over the top and like purposefully button pushing as those movies feel like they are. This one is definitely more understated and inward and haunting and somber, and I quite liked it. 3 stars for me for Alpha.
1.5 stars for me, Brett.
Oh,
I know.
God. Oh my God. Okay, let's get back on In Harmony. Let's talk about the Steve Zahn flick, She Dances, which is so unassuming that it walloped the fuck out of me by the end. I was like, yeah, this
You're
is a
not
movie.
alone. You are not alone.
I am like, this is a very Sundancey movie you've seen before. This isn't going to get me, but it's sweet enough. And then it threads the needle on what it's doing so fucking well. I have to hand it to it. Here's the trailer for She Dances.
What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
For I promise. We did the sauce competition, we went to it, and we moved to New York City.
This was my last one, Mom. I don't want Dad.
I know, but you need a guardian.
I can, if you really need me.
What does really mean?
Right. No. You're right. You excited? Yes. Nervous, too.
Just be there. That's all you have to do. Just be there for her.
Peace.
Oh, sure. Are you guys ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I've never been back here.
Well, let's get going, girls.
Wristbands. You need to keep them on unless you're dancing, and you ain't never dancing, so you keep them on, right?
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's right.
This reservation's for next week. Can you just double check the reservation, please? I can absolutely do that for you. Yep, that's for next week.
That scene's great. Both those girls are great. Zahn's daughter and the other Ziegler, Maddie Ziegler, stars in Pretty Lethal, and her sister, whose name I don't have, maybe Mark has it, other Ziegler, stars in this movie, and they're both from like Dance Moms is where they're from. So it's actually like, not autobiographical or anything, but this movie's about dance moms and dance culture, and this girl grew up in that. So it does have that authenticity. It makes sense.
It's Mackenzie Ziegler. I had to find that. She was not
Mackenzie
listed on the
Ziegler.
IMDb like right where she should be.
She's great in this.
Yeah, she's very good.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that she is playing off of a real life father-daughter pair, and it feels so natural. It's like that's a very impressive feat. But I mean, we just got to say it. The fact that it is Steve Zahn and his daughter Audrey in the movie playing father and daughter lends so much emotional truth to a movie that should just be formulaic and predictable. But I don't even want to get too much into it, because it starts off, all the stuff starts off like a comedy, like, dad trying to do his best in a situation he's not used to. He screws up in a lot of ways, and the daughter is just kind of there and understanding, but also like, whatever. It's all done for comedy. But once it starts getting into the fact that there's a loss in this family and they're trying to get past it and they haven't talked about it in any meaningful way. And this whole trip is really just them trying to come to terms with the fact that they haven't talked about it and that they need to talk about it, but that neither of them really wants to broach that conversation. Once it gets into that, it's such a big impact because of the real life connection and because those two performances are so good. Zahn is, I think because Zahn is so funny and he's been funny for years, a lot of people overlook that he can be a very, very good dramatic actor. He's done it before. He was in a Herzog movie, Rescue Dawn. I think that's what it was called.
That's right.
I think maybe his best dramatic performance might be Riding in Cars with Boys with Drew Barrymore.
Wow,
he's great in that.
That movie's like 25 years old.
I know.
Yeah,
and I remember that he's great in that. I really like Steve Zahn.
I've always as a guy who owns Saving Silverman on several formats, I am a huge Steve Zahn guy. I mean, I even like that shitty Happy Madison movie he did that no one likes, Strange Wilderness. I like that movie.
I don't remember if I saw that. I'm gonna have to keep
I guarantee you didn't because it did not screen for critics. There's no way. There's no way they screened that for critics. But I was working at the movie theater in Evanston when that came out, and my stoned ass enjoyed it several times. Steve Zahn is a treat. He's always delightful to see, and he wrote this, and he's great as an actor in it. And yeah, as you said, we don't want to give away too much, but there's just an emotional truth to what the movie's getting at and why we do the things we do in life and what really matters. And it all sounds so hokey and corny that I agree. I can't believe this movie pulls off that it made me cry by the end with doing what it's doing. And there's a grief element that's kind of undercurrent of the whole thing that doesn't really come to a head until the end. But when it does, it all comes together. And it's like, yeah, if this movie played the Sundance the right year, it would have been, this year's Little Miss Sunshine. Like, it's that good. It's really good. 3 stars for me for She Dances, the Steve Zahn starring and written really nice little movie about father and daughter relationship and how just being there. The trailer really got there.
Yeah,
that scene and watching it again and how like his mom, he's asked to go do this and he has to like be told 3 different times like, well, yeah, if you really need me, I'll do it. And it's like, what does it really mean? Like, what do you mean? I need you. And I just unfortunately relate to that idea of like having to be forced to do things that are totally should be second nature. And I relate to that. And I think the character is it's really smart about the dynamics between the two characters, the father and daughter. And it's a great little movie. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's really good, and it is funny when it needs to be. But man, those emotional scenes hit so hard, and you don't expect that because it feels so easy of a movie to make. I had to actually look up and make sure like everything's fine in the Zahn family. I felt bad just because they use real home movies.
Me too. It made me think, did they have a tragedy that we don't know?
Like, did something happen? And I instantly like I don't want to be thinking this, but I have to look it up because this feels so honest and authentic. And just say, thankfully, no. But it does. Man, at least that we know of.
Yeah, no.
Not a direct parallel, but
no. But it speaks to like, it just speaks to how good of a movie it is and how well written it is that we both thought like it came from that authentic, true place because it feels like that real. So yeah, I was quite impressed with this. And there's it's like low budget impressive filmmaking, you know what I mean? Like the like split screen effect at the beginning, like it's doing big swing things.
Cool stuff. Yeah, it is doing neat stuff that actually like because it's the split screen of them in different cars going home.
And every time every time the split screen happens, what it's signifying, it just meant so much to me. I'm like, this movie's actually really smart. Like,
yeah,
it's getting at how similar these two are, even though they don't talk to each other about these things, and how if they bridge the gap between that, look how similar they are. Like, it's so fucking good. I might be underrating it. Like, it's quite good.
Possible. It's something if I ever get a chance to watch it again, I might watch it again and see how it goes. 3 stars for me though, 2 for She Dances.
All right, feels good to be in harmony. Are we going to continue in harmony? I think we are. Here's the trailer for Fantasy Life. Did you like this?
Well, I think we'll find out.
Oh, fuck. Okay, here's the trailer for Fantasy Life.
I gotta have a little suspense. Come on.
I like it. Here we go.
What are the intrusive thoughts?
I think I suffer from internalized anti-Semitism.
Wonderful. Go on.
Do you think it could be like intergenerational trauma or?
Yeah, sure. Now, let's talk meds.
I'm feeling a little discouraged. Acting-wise, I ran into Bob Hempel at the gym, and he didn't even recognize me. He has Alzheimer's, Diane. What?
Whoa! Did you babysit? Your mom found a guy to help me with the girls.
Oh, no, that's a terrible idea. Would that be right for a patient?
You're functional.
This movie is delightful to me for several reasons. One, I'm Jewish. It's very Jewy. Two, I've had a crush on Amanda Peet since the aforementioned movie Saving Silverman. So it was really great to see her in this role, and specifically playing it's always hard to be like, is this a metatextual read on where she's at as an actress? But she's playing an actress, and it's interesting. And yeah, tell me more about this movie, Mark. I feel like I had nothing to say, but I lost it, so it's fine.
And Amanda Peet is playing an actress who hasn't done much with her career recently in the movie for, just reasons that, she's getting older and the roles aren't there. And I don't know, in real life, she hasn't done that many movies.
Well, I had to look it up. She's huge on TV right now. She's in a bunch of popular streaming shows and stuff that I don't heard of. But
that's good.
She hasn't done movies.
But I have been wondering where she's been at in movies. And then when she shows up here, when she's here and she's so good playing this sort of variation of herself in this very sweet comedy about this guy who does have a crush on this actress and ends up being a nanny to her kids, and they have a connection, and it feels authentic because you get to know both of those characters so well and you understand why they would have that connection. I just really like that it is about two characters who have this unlikely bond, and you understand it and you understand where it's coming from, and you see how the repercussions of it are going across, all these other people. Like Pete's husband's played by Alessandro Nivola. He's good here. He's good here.
He's a jam band bass player who, as a jam band fan, he nails the scene, and like he literally is. His character is like playing shows with Warren Haynes at venues that I've heard of and bands. He talks the talk and walks the walk as far as the jam band stuff goes.
So I like that character too. I don't know that much about all that stuff, but yeah, I mean, it felt real. All this feels real. I like Judd Hirsch plays that guy, his father as a psychotherapist. Bob Balaban shows up as Pete's father, who just wants this guy out of their lives because he can see exactly what's going on and just can't stomach the idea of it. It's just this sweet little movie about, and it's funny, about two characters who just feel lost at the moment, and they find something within themselves in each other. It's just really nice.
Yeah, it's really sharp and funny, and every few minutes a new actor you recognize shows up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, is that Bob Balaban? Like, what the fuck? Zosia Mamet, Jessica Harper. It's crazy the number of people who pop up in this movie. But yeah, it's a really small, classic little indie that shouldn't work. It's about like a schlubby guy that you'd never expect to be in this kind of relationship. Like you actually end up pulling for them in a way. It's like one of those movies that it pulls off that magic trick that I feel like indie movies can often pull off, and some people disagree. Like there's a guy named Cooper Raiff who made, I really like Shithouse, but he made other movies that I didn't like. The one with Dakota Johnson, I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I can't remember it either.
It's like it has a silly title. It's like the Cha Cha Real Smooth. Like
that's it. Yep.
Like that guy makes movies that I find insufferable, and I feel like you could see this in that lens, but this one worked for me because I feel like it ticked all the, oh my God, it's about a Jewish guy who has anxiety to the point of it's funny. And Alessandro Nivola is talking about jam band stuff that made me think this guy likes jam bands. So I'm like, I just related to this movie in a lot of ways, and I think it is really clever and funny. And yeah, it's an indie gem. 3 stars for me for Fantasy Life.
Yeah, 3 stars for me too.
All right. Speaking of indie gems, let's talk about our hero Balthazar. Here's the trailer.
News about Arkansas City. It's not fair that we have to worry about getting shot. I pray to God, man. This awful country is just chasing the violence it creates.
I'm having a crisis.
We're fighting for our lives here.
Is that sincere? Are you actually crying?
That's a good question. Last night, I started DMing with a guy that commented, "Are you lonely?"
That's why I want to kill everyone. Want to see what I'm gonna do.
Guys, he needs a friend. I could stop a school shooting. Solomon?
This movie is fucking great. I didn't know it was Asa Butterfield in the suspected school shooter role until the movie ended. Even though I had heard he was in it, and I think the opening titles say he's in it, I still had no fucking idea that was him. He's so unrecognizable in this role. This is the darkest comedy possible. It is the pitch black comedy about, I think, what many people have dubbed the male loneliness epidemic of modern society. It's about obsession with violence and school shootings and how that manifests in people, and like another movie about performative, like acting performatively. Tell me about this movie, Mark.
Yeah, performative activism. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, just internet influencer culture and just trying to do that and not really making any personal connections with people. Yeah, this movie does feel big.
It
in
gets
a way
under
that's
yeah.
really hard to wrestle with.
Like, it got under my skin for sure.
Me too. In a way that I'm not exactly sure how to talk about it, because I think if we put it in this way, it makes it sound like it's something like you really have to think about, or that is going to make you like address some things that are dark. It's doing both of those things, but it's also funny because it's about this guy who
it's
is
as funny as it is deeply fucking sad, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are so many conflicting things going on here that is hard to talk about, because you feel bad for these guys. You feel bad for both of them. They're just kind of aimless. They're just young guys. Jaden Martell plays this high school kid who's rich and a narcissist, essentially, and just makes all these videos trying to get attention. And then Asa Butterfield plays this guy in Texas who, doesn't have much going on in his life, and doesn't have a family except for his grandmother, and he finds his long lost father who's selling supplements and try to get him involved in a mass marketing scheme. It's so deeply sad, but also very funny, and also because you realize that they both eventually become drawn to guns and the power that guns give them. It is deeply unsettling too. It's living in all of those spaces. It really feels like a movie very much of this moment that I wish more people, I wish it were in more theaters, and I wish more audiences were daring enough to like go and watch stuff that's going to challenge them in this way. I'm not saying this movie has any answers, and I think the fact that maybe it doesn't have any answers, and it's not even trying to get it answers, it's just saying this is where we're at. This is kind of an extreme case of stuff that could happen with these sort of people and these sort of characters in this sort of situation. This is what we have made for ourselves in society, and let us deal with it in the absurdly funny way that it is, and the sad way that it is, and the dark way that it is. It's a lot to take in.
I've just rarely seen a movie actually get into like the online society radicalization and how people talk to each other online and how that actually bleeds into real life in a way as well as this movie. And like the class disparity between this rich kid and this poor kid, and it's all just there's so much going on in this movie. It is so darkly funny at times. Of course, there's like the classic thing we've seen in several movies that are satires of modern times, where like these kids, which is it's not even satire, it's real life, that we have school shooting drills but in this movie, like he's wearing like a fake bullet hole on his head, and like it's like a really dramatic, dramatized version of that. But yeah, feels like a really important American film, and not to put that lofty bullshit onto it, but I feel like it's one of those indie movies I do want to champion, and that I think it's not only just really funny and uncomfortable and smart and empathetic movie, which again, empathetic for characters that like arguably you in other movies you would think they might not deserve it, but this movie makes you understand where they're coming from, I guess, in a way. I don't know.
And isn't the big question, I think the big question the movie is asking is, what is important and what actually draws people to doing stuff. And I think you could say like empathy or the lack thereof is the big deciding factor between these two characters, and how your expectations for, the way that the one character is versus another, just because of where they're at and where they're from and what they do and what other people say about them. But it really does, I think, in the end, ultimately, with that last scene, which is so good, that does come down to empathy and whether or not you have it. And what do we do in a society that does overlook that and doesn't champion that and instead is about, you got to look good on the internet and you got to have the power of, owning a bunch of guns, and you got to go through these different political phases and all this stuff. Like, why can't we just like actually treat each other like human beings again? If we ever did, I mean, I guess we could start doing it. It's a very tough film, but it's,
and at the same time, we're both like are eager to say it's a comedy. Like, we're like,
I know,
it's funny.
Yes,
yeah,
I know it is funny, but it's such an uncomfortable way, which is exactly what it should be with this subject matter.
Yeah, it's really, really good. 3.5 stars for me for our hero Balthazar.
I really feel close to that, but I'm giving a very strong 3 stars. But I feel like if I watch it again and let it kind of settle and marinate, I might get up there.
Yeah, I'm eager to revisit it.
It's really good.
I'm eager to revisit it. And actually, the writer of that film reached out to me after seeing my letterboxd and just said he's a fan of the show and appreciates, like, was very delighted to see that we liked it. So I don't know what just to say. That's very cool that it's never happened to me before on the show. So, and he was, eager to come on the show and talk about the movie, which we don't really do on this show, but I do on my other show. And I think that might be interesting to have him on to talk about what was in his head. What were you thinking when you wrote this? Because we just put a lot of thoughts in your, in your mouth. And I want to make sure that we're onto something.
I also think you could argue this is horror adjacent, just because it's
100%
modern
100%.
world.
Modern society is very horror adjacent right now.
Yes.
And Asa Butterfield, man, performance of the year, maybe.
So good.
Holy hell! If you don't know who that kid is, isn't he Hugo? Is that where? Is that?
Yeah.
That's his claim to fame.
One of his
the child actor from Hugo. He's in several things: Ender's Game, Boy in the Striped Pajamas, the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children movie.
Yeah, it's so weird watching somebody grow up on screen like over the years and then not recognizing them at all.
I mean, all you have to do is make them like blonde, and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? Like, bleach
make
blonde,
him blonde, give him glasses, and just make him completely awkward
and make him like
awake.
incelly. Yeah, it's
a very good performance.
Great performance. Great, and Jaden Martell's great too. He's a good actor. That guy. All right, let's move on to the last movie of the week. We're gonna have one more disagreement, I believe. Continental 25, the latest from Radu Jude, who's pretty
weirdest. This is the weirdest thing with his Radu Jude's history on this show so far.
I mean, yeah, it's like up and down for sure, and he's just prolific in terms of how many movies he's put out in 2 or 3 years. Anyway, here's Continental 25.
Jó csákok, megy. Szenteltessék meg a te neved. Bocsáss meg vétkeinged. Még éppen mi is megbocsájtunk az ellenünk vétkező.
Dar ce ați pățit? Hai, ziceți-mi acum, doamna...
Hai, se scoasele mele de aici.
Uite-ți, somație. Ce veche e. M-am lăsat cât am putut și oricum toamna, iarna nu se prea fac evacuări.
I found this to be kind of brilliant and clever and sad and thought-provoking, even though I'm imagining criticism of yours is going to be that it maybe is like repetitive, but I found that repetitive nature, which he's really annoyed me with in his other movies. I found it got under my skin here. Like, I really found this movie. This is the theme of the week again, Mark. This is a movie about performances we do to ourselves to make ourselves feel better about the horrors of the modern world that we live in and our culpability in it specifically. This movie is about a woman who feels responsible for it's the death of a person, right?
Yeah, suicide of
the suicide of a man who like a homeless person who she basically evicted from a space he wasn't supposed to be living. And this movie is darkly hilarious because the whole movie is just this poor woman going to person and being like, well, legally speaking, I am not at fault. I have no reason to be guilty, and I do not feel guilty. I am not at fault. But it's her talking through how guilty she feels about it, but also how there's nothing that what could she have done about it otherwise. So it's just a dark movie that's kind of about living in a time when we see horrors all the time. We're confronted with horrors on our phones far flung. We're confronted by horrors on the street, homeless people, and we kind of just all do our best at ignoring it. And I just think it's the most resonated with one of his movies because his movies can be pretty tough to parse as far as the satire goes, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, you were spot on. I did find it repetitive, and I get what he's getting at. Is she is going to all these different people, to a friend, to a priest, to her husband. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody. Oh, to her boss.
It sounds like the setup for a punchline for a joke.
Yeah, no, it does.
It kind of is.
Those people, and it kind of is. You're right. She's going to all these people, and she's just trying to explain herself. Like, I don't think I was wrong, but I feel bad about it. Is it am I correct in thinking that I wasn't wrong? And also, is it okay that I feel bad about it? And how can I not feel bad about it? And she's looking for answers to these questions, and nobody can give her anything because everybody is stuck in their own little bubbles. Like the friend just wants, her to make donations to her charities because that's what she does to feel better about herself. And the priest wants her to pray and to go to church more often because that's what he's there to sell everybody on. It's, everybody is selling something, and none of it offers any answers. I get it. But watching the movie, it really just does feel like you're watching this woman repeatedly having the same conversation over and over and over again and not getting anywhere with it. And I know that's the point of it. I know that's the point
and that's how I felt about his other movies, where I'm like, I know this is the point, but I found it insufferable. And this time I liked it for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I'm right on the fence of that because I do understand that's exactly what the movie is getting at. But man, I can't get past that feeling that I think there's another way to go about this, or maybe there's just a different level or a different angle that maybe the movie could approach it up. Like the fact that it opens with that homeless man going through his routine and you get to understand him and you see everything that he has to go through just to get through the day. Like that speaks volumes about the problem. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just because the character is really avoiding the big answer, which is society is messed up and there's a lot of things wrong and we don't know how to address it. And we're not asking the right questions and nobody's giving us the answers.
And I actually I find his camera where sometimes he just shows you buildings for 5 minutes. Like I would have been annoyed by that in other ones, and I have been. But this time I'm like, there's nothing left of the old world except I was like, oh my God, I get this. I
really like those shots of the modern buildings that just look awful, and they are literally on top of, in some cases, those old houses. Like that is
So I
really good stuff here. I don't want to disparage the movie.
I just totally for the first time with this filmmaker, I guess second time because I like Dracula too, but it wasn't that wasn't as highfalutin as this, I guess. I feel like I really connected with I understand what this is supposed to be like. Whereas in that other one that's really long and annoying that everyone loves.
I expect too much from the end of the world.
Yeah, in that one, it has a 20 or 10-minute unbroken shot, and I'm like, fuck you. And this one has a montage of buildings, and I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. So I don't know. It's just a matter of if it hits you in the way where you are picking up what it's putting down, because I wasn't picking up what that one was putting down, and I definitely was picking up what this one was putting down. Or I feel like I was picking up what that one was putting down. It just
you just didn't like it.
It was too long, and I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, I get it. You're making fun of influencer culture, blah, 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 whatever. This one connected with me, so I'm 3 stars on Kontinental 25.
I am classic 2.5 stars, right on the fence with it, but just something missing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
If you like this filmmaker stuff, this is probably going to be up your alley because it is another one that is thought-provoking and offers a lot to chew on.
For sure. All right, let's do a recap. I think I can handle it.
Okay.
They Will Kill You. 2 stars from Mark, 3 stars from me. Forbidden Fruits. 2 stars from Mark, 3 stars from me. Pretty Lethal. 1.5 stars from Mark, 3 stars from me. I'm sensing a trend here. Is Alpha? I don't know about the order here.
Mike and Nick.
Oh, Mike and Nick and Alice, 1.5 from both of us. Alpha, 1.5 from Mark, 3 from me. She Dances, 3 stars for both of us. Fantasy Life, 3 stars for both of us. Our Hero Balthazar, 3 stars from you, 3.5 from me. Kontinental 25, 2.5 from you, 3 from me. I think that's all of them.
You got it.
Hell yeah. I felt like a beautiful mind right there. I just kind of blacked out. It's like that scene in I don't know if you're watching The Pit, but The Pit a couple weeks ago.
No, I gotta get to The Pit.
The Pit's good. There was a scene where like there's a cyber attack and they have to like do everything analog and no one took a picture of the chart. And this one woman's like, I remember every bit of the chart. And she just spends a whole episode like listing everything. It's very funny. Anyway. Yeah, that was this week's episode, and I will now go to the comments and reviews part of the show. I don't think I have any reviews.
I didn't see any.
No, but I do have
a lot of comments.
A lot of comments, and we'll talk about probably all of them. Let's see. Gary Shipes says, thanks you both for championing my favorite filmmaker, Christian Petzold, on your shows. A Fire on DNA Transit, and especially his classic Phoenix, are all unmissable adult-oriented films. Mirrors number 3 will certainly join the others. Thanks for the call-out. Yes, I think it's very good, and I have thought about it since, and I think it's even better than I gave it credit for. And Mark doesn't agree, probably.
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't thought about it that much.
All right, and I will read this review.
But we will continue to shine a light on filmmakers who make small and movies not in English.
Yes,
for sure.
Both very important to us.
Yes.
Ed Douglas, friend of the show, says, congrats on the rebrand. Long time coming. But I have to, I wanted to read this criticism because I expected it, because my wife also, and other people, I feel like, gave a funny little lie to our new logo. But I like it, and I'll explain myself. Got to admit, I'm not really a fan of the new logo. Brett looks like he's 50, and Mark looks like Vern Troyer. Sorry. I hope you didn't do that with AI. Maybe have it try again. Maybe more in the form of Keith Haring. Anyway, I'm shocked to say that I totally agree with Brett on Project Hail Mary because I felt the exact same way the first time I saw it. Everything he said about it being too long, especially. But I also agree with how he said he would still give it 3 stars. I gave it a 7 out of 10 on the first viewing, but seeing it a second time, I'd probably bump it up to a 7.5 or 8. That's just so much that was hard to catch or understand the first time. I also did not like the IMAX 70mm presentation and the changing aspect ratios, and seeing it in RPX was far more satisfying. And he said, oh, I'm glad Mark is included in the logo this time. So the logo was made by a friend of mine named Mary Houlihan, who's a great artist. And I really love the hand-drawn aspect of it, especially in an age where everyone does everything with AI and it looks terrible, including some of the top charted stuff on the film reviews and film history charts or horrible AI. So I'm really delighted to have what I think is a great looking hand-drawn animation. You know, if I were nitpicky, would I have said, hey, could you like fix my face a little bit or make Mark's neck a little less weird looking? Probably, but I don't know. I didn't want to, she put a lot of work into it, you know, and I don't want to be like, do it again. Like I'm like, I like the like idiosyncratic weirdness of it, frankly.
The other thing is we have multiple photos that we were looking at to do. So it doesn't mean like a year or two from now, we're not getting another one.
100%. Don't feel locked into it. I like the rebrand where we're at. I like the hand-drawn animation. If you're unfamiliar with that picture, Google Siskel and Ebert, and you'll see that we modeled it after a very specific image of Siskel and Ebert, and we're even dressed the same. So it's very specifically trying to look like them, which may be why she made it look a little goofy.
Yeah, I think it also reference photos for both of us were, you know,
a little strange.
that might be on my part too, because I didn't actually offer a reference photo.
No,
I didn't think about it, and I probably should have. I have like a headshot.
I
have an actual headshot.
Yes. Oh gosh, this was a peek behind the curtain of how haphazardly things get done around here. But I think it's good. I genuinely have no issue with it, but I could understand why people would look at it and go, that looks kind of goofy. But I like it. I think it's idiosyncratic and fun. And you can let us know how you feel if you want. And if you and I will say, Mark, when I sent it to Believe, the podcast network, to add their little stamp to, they were like, do you want us to use our in-house graphic designer? And what they sent me like a mock-up of what they would do, and it was absolutely just sent through AI, and it was like as if it were a real photo of the two of us in that style, and it just does not. It's not me, and it's not you. It's just a strange AI creation. that I have to send to you because it made me laugh really hard. But
Oh,
it's
okay. I'll have to
it's
look.
also very scary and uncanny. Like, who are these people? Who the fuck is that? That's not me. But I like the hand
Maybe
drawn.
we'll figure out. Maybe we'll figure out like iconic theaters that we could stand in front of and
Yeah.
take photos and split it up somehow.
Yeah. I'm
I
no
don't know.
artist. If you have an idea, vision,
Yeah,
let
but
me
we're
know.
sticking with this for now. So that's
Yeah,
the
I like
important
it. I
part.
think it's fun. I like the colors. I think it's great. All right, what do we have here? Looking forward to seeing Project Hail Mary, despite the fact that I think it'll be quite generic sci-fi. And he said, there is no, this is Dusler Dumbler. There is no, it looks like this in the book because Andy Weir has aphantasia. So he has no way to visualize what he's writing down. There was a pretty fascinating article about Weir being on the set of the film and not knowing how things looked until it was actually being shot. Also, Madman Pictures are an Australian distributor that bring a lot of international movies and have relationships with European film companies. They're not European themselves. I think that's just that they have more English-friendly trailers on YouTube for the movies. That makes sense. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was me. Just I couldn't remember where Madman came from, but they pop up all the time when I'm looking at foreign films. Those
Yeah,
trailers.
good for them. And aphantasia sounds interesting. So he doesn't. I have to Google what that is, but
and if that's true, that does explain why
the
parts of the book.
inability. Inability to voluntarily visualize mental images. Okay, so like if you say like see an apple in your mind right now, he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that.
Interesting. And that would explain. I mean, that definitely would explain what I said when I said it's some of the stuff in the book is hard to visualize. It's maybe just because that's what it is.
This
It's
guy literally isn't.
like,
he isn't
like,
concerned with that because he doesn't see.
I would. Well, now I want to reread at least maybe reread some of those sections, especially like when that because what I was thinking specifically of is how the ships connect in the book, and that was feeling very vague to me, and where everything was and how it was. I should maybe reread those sections just to see if.
Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting context to have.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doozer Dumbler. James Dow says, I've got an idea for a revamp. That's the guy who doesn't like Alien Ant Farm, and you can just guess what his idea is. He didn't even put it, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
And the answer is no. Razor Ruds says, new name, same classy show. Keep up the great work, lads. That's Paul in Cork, Ireland. We're gonna do that live show in Ireland one day.
At a mall.
And and at a mall, and Paul will be there. Do they have malls in Ireland? You have to let us know. Carey Mulligan, 1403. It was a solid lineup of theatrical films this weekend with Hail Mary, Ready or Not 2, Toe, and Durandar, The Revenge, which Mark and I didn't get to. 4-hour-long Bollywood action movie that I've heard isn't even that good. I didn't make time for it. But he said, Carey Mulligan says, despite Mark not liking it, Vampires of the Velvet Lounge won the weekend for them. It's everything I love about a midnight movie with Mina Suvari, India Isley, and Stephen Dorff knowing exactly what kind of film they're in. Alita Battle Angel gives a hilariously bad performance. I love that they called her that. And despite not liking Ditchin Lockman the first time with her vocal fry narration, I was fine with her during my second and third watch. Because yes, I watched it 3 times.
Wow.
If it wasn't for Nirvana, this would be in the running for funniest film of the year because the jokes really hit for me. Okay, I had zero interest in that movie, and now I'm going to watch it because Carey Mulligan watched it 3 times. That's crazy. I know Jesse saw it in theaters and didn't like it either, but I'm curious now. I'm curious if it'll eventually find its audience. That was like a campy horror movie? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I'll have to check that
Campy
out.
horror vampire hangout movie. It sounds better than I think that it is, but I mean, obviously, I'm not in. People do like it, so
fair enough.
There we go.
James Simon says, sorry, folks, perhaps I missed some point with the Hail Mary. Sets are amazing, puppets, etc. Some funny moments, but in the cold light of day, it's speedrunning all the tropes with few changes. Even worse, Gosling is very naturally funny, but somehow they didn't use that. Also, they looked at many films from the past decade or so and removed things audiences have disliked. Inverted stuff, maybe. I do not wish to ruin the party, just one person's opinion. I kind of halfway agree with James Simon, as we know from the meanest 3 stars anyone's ever given a movie. And someone in the comments did not appreciate their characterization and said, that's insane. You've lost touch with your inner child. Not every film has to be an R-rated exercise. These are the kinds of movies with mass appeal that keep theaters in business. You're spoiled. Imagine if E.T. came out in 2026, people would torture it alive because it isn't jaded, has a wholesomeness to it, is touching and sentimental, just like this film, except this film has graphics on par with a Christopher Nolan film and a more modern ending. That was Brush CL sounding off in the comments in defense of Project Hail Mary. I love when people sound off on stuff. Go off.
Yeah.
Please have arguments.
Yeah.
CF98. Oh, this is comments about Iron Lung out of nowhere. I don't need to read that, but appreciate.
We covered
that.
it.
We covered it. Check out Iron Lung. Oh, someone wanted to know what the name of the movie Dead Lover was. It's Dead Lover. They were like, "What's the movie about the lady who smells bad?" I'm like, it's Dead Lover. I got it. No problem. Leonardo Lopez, excuse me. When looking at your reaction in Letterboxd the week of March 27th, this week, seems to be the most consistently high quality for the movies of the year so far, at least in terms of Brett's feelings. That's absolutely true. I gave a lot of things 3 stars. With most of them being good to great, with the exception of Mike and Nick and Alice. We don't get high quality movies like this too often, so we must be sure to savor them while we can. Something tells me that one of next week's biggest movies will not reach the heights of most of the movies on this week's episode. He's referring to the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which we are seeing on Monday. I hope it's good, but it's a children's movie that's full of Easter eggs and cameos, so it's probably not going to be very good, but that's okay. Doesn't need to be. It's going to make $1 billion. And that's it. That was the show. Those are the comments. We'll be back next week with Super Mario Galaxy, A24's The Drama pizza movie on Hulu and Disney Plus with the kid from Stranger Things, Gatton Maserati, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, and the kid from the Goldbergs.
Okay.
For those who like network, well, at least that network sitcom.
Yeah, my parents like that show. Yeah, until they CGI'd Jeff Garland into it.
It's really funny until the last 2. I didn't even finish the last season, but because it's like, you pushed it too far. But but it is very funny up until then.
Pretty light week next week, but we still have plenty to talk about. Yep. And I hear the drama is crazy, and I can't wait to see what the twist is. So we'll see you in next week. Bye.
The show starts in 1.
Shut up. Shut up. Hush.